Wow, this awesome book I'm about to review certainly came as advertised. Down the bottom on the back cover it does say unputdownable, and it certainly doesn't disappoint. What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I will be reviewing the 5th book in the John Milton series written by Mark Dawson called Sword of God. Before I go into the review though, I'll give you a bit of background information about the series. Now, I first discovered Mark Dawson's books last year while I was trolling for new stuff to read, and when I first picked up The Cleaner and started reading it, I was instantly hooked. I was reading about an ex-British assassin who has a crisis of conscience and decides to leave British intelligence, which is normally not allowed. You would normally sign your own death warrant. It's not like putting in your resignation from your regular 9-to-5 job. Just does not work that way. So in this book and the next 3 books, we find that John Milton is pursued by his former employer. So some of his old operative teammates are tasked with hunting him down and terminating him. Also, in the meantime, we find that John Milton goes on his own quest for redemption. So he suffers from alcoholism because he's haunted by all those deaths he has caused and wants to atone for those and make up for it in some way by helping people who need it, which is the crux of the series. Now, I'll show you the next book, which was Saint Death, which was incredible. Now, these formats are beautiful. They came out in the UK and Australia in 2020 and 2021 respectively. I did find out that the publishers were planning on releasing Mark's backlist of 1 book per year. Now there's about 17 or 18 or 19 books in the series, and I thought, well, I'm not going to wait 20 years to read them all, so I decided I'll be a bit proactive and hunt them down from overseas, and I'm currently up to book number 5, which I enjoyed immensely. Now, you can see the cover art on the later books that absolutely kicks ass. The graphic design is amazing. I love the color palette. They're very tactile books. They have very heavy paper stock, which is what I like, and just the quality of the book is fantastic. And the most important thing is the later books in the smaller format, when they're spine out on your shelf, they look pretty good, which helps with the old OCD that I have. So now, from The Cleaner, we see how John Milton grows as a character, and I think that's my favourite thing about John Milton, how he grows and how he evolves even after 5 books. So let's talk about the Sword of God. So we last saw John Milton in Texas, and now he's wandering the wilderness of Michigan. He's preferred to escape civilization for a while. He has the experience of living off the land, and he doesn't care how he looks. He looks a bit rough when he comes upon a small Michigan town called Truth. And he meets the town sheriff, or encounters the town sheriff, who pulls up, and the sheriff takes one look at him and he thinks, no, not in my town, you're out of here. So he decides to escort John Milton out of town to the town limits, and points him down the road and says, there's a nice camping spot down there near a nice lake, I think you'll enjoy it. So I found that very interesting, because hands up if you recognise that particular scenario. If you're an ex-Jenner like me, you'll know precisely what runs familiar in your head when you read this particular scene. So if you give up, I'll tell you. So I got some serious First Blood vibes from that scene, which I think was great. So yeah, that was a really good opening for me. So he decides to go into town anyway, wants to check into a hotel, wants to clean himself up a little bit and eat a decent meal, because he has been living off the land and hunting wildlife to live off and that sort of thing. So he goes to a local bar which has sit-down meals, and he's sitting down to his meal, minding his own business, and a drunk dickhead comes up to his table and picks a fight with John Milton, and another bloke joins in, which is a pretty big mistake. Now, John Milton, knowing how to look after himself and kick ass, he does his best to avoid a violent situation. He says to the guy, "Look, I'm not wanting this to go any further, I'm sorry, but because alcohol fuels a bit of anger in the bloke, they pick a fight." But it doesn't end well for two of the men, who just get dropped effortlessly by John Milton, and it comes to the attention of the sheriff, who is just happens to be in the bar at the time, and he arrests John Milton. Even though the fight wasn't his fault, he still takes him in. So we see a bit of an exchange with the sheriff and Milton as they get to know each other a little bit. They both realise that they were both involved in the military, and they develop a mutual respect, and the sheriff gets the charges dropped from the lawyer that John Milton dropped in the bar. So eventually Milton is released, and him and the sheriff depart on amicable terms, but it's not long until Milton finds trouble brewing in the little town. So an FBI agent called Ellie Flowers has been hunting for a group of bank robbers who were rumoured to have come through the town and have fled up into the mountains near a great lake, and they have kidnapped a local bloke who is mentally handicapped, and the young woman Mallory, who is his sister, has tried to convince the sheriff that his brother has in fact been kidnapped, but no one believes her, and she appeals to Milton for some help. And Milton's very reluctant at first, because he just wants to get out of town, but he gets convinced, and they trek up into the mountains along with Special Agent Ellie Flowers, and they end up apprehending the four robbers and bringing Mallory's brother back home. So the robbers get arrested and put in jail, and at this point we assume, okay, all's well, but only not even halfway through the book, things are far from well. So we find that there's a conspiracy within the town, and all hell breaks loose. So the robbers are let out of jail, and they end up kidnapping Ellie, the special agent, and Mallory and her brother, and they seem to be aided by local deputies. So you find yourself thinking, what's this all about? So Milton intervenes and discovers he's come across some serious adversaries here, and things get out of hand. He ends up escaping because he was unarmed at the time, and he promises the three of them, Ellie, Mallory and her brother, that he will come back for them and he'll kill everyone who is involved in their kidnapping. So in some of the most exciting scenes I've ever read, it reaches an awesome climax at the end that puts your jaw on the floor. Now, I'm not going to spoil anything further, but if you haven't read it, I will say that Milton gets hurt in this one. He really gets hurt, and Jesus, the things he pulls off in this one, I don't know how I can get any better. I really don't. But the best thing I like about Milton is the layers to his character that get peeled back with every book. You get to know him a little bit deeper as you go through each book, and in this one we see a little bit more vulnerability to Milton, but I especially enjoy his commitment to what he says he'll do, always keeping a promise, and the best of all, he's a righteous son of a bitch. Absolutely awesome. It's like characters like Jack Reacher, who like to see the right thing done. I'm really itching to get my hands on some more Milton books, and I dare say I'll be ploughing through quite a few of them this year, if not the entire thing. And when this channel eventually gets bigger, and when I've read the entire series, I'd like to get Mark Dawson on the channel for a chat. I would really enjoy that. I think it would be great to pick his brain a little bit and just have him as potentially my first guest on the channel. I've even sent Mark the link to this video to see what he thinks, and please visit his website. I've posted the link below. If you join his mailing list, you'll get some free stuff. It's really good. So that's it for my review. I gave it a solid 5 stars because it did come as advertised, unputdownable, and looking forward to mowing through the rest of the series, and fast becoming one of my favourite series of all time. So if you have any feedback about the review, let me know if you've read Mark Dawson or not, and if you have any feedback, put them below in the comments and I will endeavour to answer all those. So what's coming up on the channel? One of my next videos will be a review of No One Gets Out Alive by Adam Neville, and I'll also be doing week 3 of February Fantasy Stories, where I will be reviewing Mr. Be Gone by Clive Barker. So we'll see how that goes, but until next time, see you later.